I hope that they kind of just know that whatever they're dealing with, it's going to feel really hard and heavy right at that time. And it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to kind of think, oh my gosh, why is this happening? But just that with the right people kind of beside them and the right tools, that they can get through it and they can still be happy.
Today, I'm honored to welcome author Ronni Vlaminck, creator of Stormy's Brave Beginning, a tender children's book based on a true story experienced by Ronni and her family. It follows Stormy, a tiny gray kitten found alone on a rainy road, and his journey through rescue, healing, and becoming a one-eyed cat who learns that even after the stormiest days, life can be beautiful. Welcome, Ronni. This is a true story based on your real cat and your family's experience. What made you want to share it with children?
So I've always kind of had outside pets, but I really was never a cat person. And Stormy came into our lives in a time that was kind of a transition time when I had been working, for 25 years, working outside of the home, raising kids, managing the household. For 12 of those years, I was also kind of the sole admin and bookkeeper for our small business that we run together. And I was doing a lot and not really doing a very good job at any of my jobs, kind of overwhelmed, burnt out, that kind of thing. The business was growing and he was hiring more staff and I was just kind of struggling to keep up with everything. So we together decided for me to step away from my job and then just kind of focus on family and focus on our small business. And that was about 3 months before Stormy. He really kind of just turned us into a cat family. He was so cute but so sick and so sad. And it was such of a sad story, but I just felt this pull to him and I knew he wasn't going to make it without our help. So I just thought I better share this story.
Yes. Who found Stormy?
So my husband found Stormy. Yep.
Where did your husband find Stormy?
He was just driving home he was on some work call or something, and he was driving home and it was a rainy day, saw this little tiny thing on the side of the road. And it's actually kind of a miracle that he even saw the cat because normally, an animal would run away if a vehicle drove up, but he was so sick. He just was sitting there like, oh my gosh, help me.
And then that's how the story begins. So that's
how the story begins. Yeah. Yeah. And so I had been working out of the home and like crazy busy constantly, and 2 months earlier, 3 months earlier, I would have never, ever said yes to letting this cat come in the house. But I was home more. I was kind of working from my home office and he started out in the garage and we just kept bringing him in. And it was all me. It was me that wanted him in the house. Now he's sleeping in my bed.
Well, in the story, Stormy doesn't speak, but Stormy's emotions are clear. Was that intentional in your writing about Stormy?
Yeah. Well, I definitely wanted it to be kind of more of like a real story where he was the main character, but he was a real life cat, And I do think that it's important that he doesn't speak because I think it shows that even though he can't communicate with his words, he was still able to kind of feel and see the love and care that we were giving him. And he slowly kind of got better and started to feel at home.
So your husband noticed Stormy was struggling and took Stormy in and brought him home. What do you hope kids learn from this little act of kindness?
I hope that kids can see that their life might be going fine, but someone else might be really struggling. And if they could be that one person that could kind of help someone when they're having a bad day, or if they're going through something that's not easy, that they could be that one person that could change everything for someone.
Yeah. After surgery, Stormy becomes a one-eyed cat.
Yes.
But Stormy never is really framed as disabled or broken. And was that intentional?
Definitely. I definitely wanted that to be part of the story too, where, just because something happens to you, that doesn't really define who you are or what your outcome is going to be. We all have things that we've gone through, and I've gone through some traumatic things and had lots of losses in my life, but I don't want to be defined for that. I kind of want I want everything else to be the important parts.
You mentioned that yesterday when we were messaging back and forth, and I was wondering if you were okay talking a little bit about that. I know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was like I told you, I was kind of binging through your content and, all the stories of grief and loss and struggle and all the things. And I think we, like I said, we all kind of have these things, but there's kind of a defining moment. When is it that you were like, oh, before this, or after that happened? It's kind of how you kind of remember things that happen in your life. And I had it was a period of like 1 or 2 years where it just seemed like everything was happening. We had 2 kids and our kids were great, but we decided that we should have another kid. We were going to have another, add a third kid to the mix. And we kind of struggled with some infertility. And then when we did get pregnant, we ended up losing that baby to stillbirth. And I was 6 months pregnant when I lost her. And that was a defining moment right there. That was kind of like, okay, I am a different person now than I was yesterday, and I'll never be the same. And I think that until you kind of go through something like that, you don't always really realize what you need or what that unconditional love is or what's important in life. So I think that was my defining moment. Yeah.
It changes your whole perspective.
Yeah,
I think on what's important, and like it's a definite before and after situation.
Right, exactly. And it didn't just stop there. I mean, I definitely, like I said, I had a few years of things. We ended up having another baby, and she's now 12. But then shortly after that, my dad died, and then my brother died. And, so things just keep happening. But definitely that one moment was the defining moment for I'm definitely a different person since then.
Do you think that those moments are sort of the reason Stormy came into your lives and you wrote this book?
Other people have asked me that too. And it makes you wonder, I never had any intention to writing a children's book about a cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that it just my life was super busy. I kind of had this moment where, okay, I'm not quite as busy right now. Here's this cat. This is amazing. This is a good story. Now I'm a cat lady. I think I need to share it.
Was it always a children's book in your mind when you were like, I want to share it? Did you know?
Yeah. It was always a children's book, but partly just because that was easier for me. I mean, it's hard to share hard to share some of the adult things. I've even thought about writing a book about grief, and I have it on a Google Doc, but it's scary. It's scary to share those things.
Totally. It's very vulnerable. Yeah. I think with a kid's book, you can get so much across without saying a lot.
Yeah. It was easy to write it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you hope that kids will get out of this book that are maybe healing or feeling broken themselves?
I hope that they kind of just know that whatever they're dealing with, it's going to feel really hard and heavy right at that time. And it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to kind of think, oh my gosh, why is this happening? But just that with the right people kind of beside them and the right tools, that they can get through it and they can still be happy.
One great thing about this book, I think, is that it doesn't hit you over the head with grief or loss. But I think when a kid reads it, they'll just get it.
Right.
And feel hopeful, which I think is really cool.
And honestly, I didn't think about all of that as I was writing it. It was more, this is good. Maybe more people need to hear this,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Which I think is so true with the creative process. You don't always know exactly the point when you're going into it, and it kind of reveals itself.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Which is cool. Stormy is held and comforted and told he's brave. What role do you think love plays in healing?
A huge part in it. I think that love kind of creates this safety net. It creates the safety and allows for healing. I think love is everything. We kind of hear about unconditional love growing up, but I don't think I really understood that until I needed it and have given it. So
yes. And sometimes we get it from animals as well. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you have a purpose in mind when you ended the story with a quiet moment of Stormy safe at home watching the world?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it maybe not purposefully for myself, but for Stormy, it was definitely kind of a reflection of where he's been, what he's been through, where he's now, and then kind of that safe, calm, and ready to see what's coming next. And now when I look at it, I mean, I read that book and I think, this is kind of a beginning for me too. This is exciting. I took a chance and I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to kind of, even though I'm not an author and I really have no experience in that, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep writing and keep sharing it and, keep reaching out to, I'm going to a different school district in a couple of weeks to read to a few of the different elementary grades there. So it's fun. I would have never had I wouldn't have done these things if it weren't for that little cat.
Yes. And do you have plans I have the 2 books here, which I really enjoy. Yes. And do you have plans to write more books about Stormy?
Yes, I do. I have the next book in mind. I have it kind of some draft written down, but I haven't worked with my illustrator yet to really get it going. But that's my plan for this year, is to do another one. So
another one. Okay.
Yep.
And how was that process? How did you find an illustrator and start the whole process of writing a children's book? Because I think it's one of the things that a lot of us think I'm going to do this someday. And then actually doing it is another thing.
Right. Yes. And it really wasn't hard, I wouldn't say, but I'm not an illustrator. So I reached out to a few different illustrators on the website Fiverr, which is just a freelance. You can hire freelancers on that website. And I had actually hired one and it didn't work out. Her vision and mine weren't matching up. So then I ended up finding a second one and she's been great. Yeah. And so she illustrated both books. Yep. And then I didn't know the process as far as kind of what it needed to look like to self-publish on Amazon, which is what I did. I do have a publisher now that wants to work with me, just a local one here, but the illustrator knew how to format things so I could just kind of upload them right from my computer to Amazon.
Oh, that's great. And so you self-published these 2 books on your own on Amazon.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If Stormy could speak, what do you think Stormy would say to a child that's feeling a little bit different or like they're disabled?
I think that Stormy would say, what you're dealing with is really hard, but you matter so much and you are loved and you are special just the way you are. And your family will be there with you always. And you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
I love
you just have to keep pushing ahead.
Have you guys noticed things because Stormy just has one eye in real life? Does Stormy struggle with anything or?
So he does a little bit. He'll kind of run into walls. And if you put a toy next to his bad side, he just doesn't see it at all, but he is so sweet. He's just so sweet. I just am recovering from illness and gosh, that cat just laid in bed with me the whole time. It was so sweet.
Oh,
and he even kind of meowed quietly, little quiet meows oh, mom's not feeling good. We got to be quiet.
They sort of intuitively know when you're not feeling well. Yes.
Right.
That's so sweet. So sweet. Well, where can everybody find you and Stormy?
Both of my books are on Amazon. And then I have a website too that I'll share with you if you can share it with the viewers or the listeners. And on my website too, I have just a couple of free things. And then I have a couple of Stormy merch items that some of my local people have reached out and said, we need Stormy t-shirts and things like that. So I made a couple things and they're on there, but yeah.
So fun. Where else are you going to be sharing Stormy? So you're going to an elementary school and then do you have other plans where you're going to be?
So I've already read to the school that my daughter goes to. She goes to a small private school and I've been there a couple times reading. My local newspaper did a book signing in December. So that was really fun. And I just had no idea that would ever be a thing that I would be doing. So it's really exciting. I am going to a school in a couple of weeks to do a reading. And then I've just been doing a lot of networking with kind of the one-eyed community.
Yeah.
And even just some, I've been trying to get in contact with, Ronald McDonald House and just different things like that, different children's hospitals and things. And I just feel like there is a good story to be told, or it is a good story to be told. So I'm trying to get it into the hands of as many places where kids that are struggling can see it.
I love that. I love that. What did you guys figure out was wrong with Stormy's eye? What had happened?
Right. Good question. So he was 8 weeks old, they think, when we got him. So he was just tiny, tiny. And we kind of kept him that first night in the garage, just thinking, oh my gosh, he's not even going to make it. But then he made it through the night. So we took him to the vet right away. And I think they gave him antibiotics and they gave him IV fluid and they gave him some creams for his eyes because they were both matted pretty much completely shut. And then the eyes kind of healed as time went on a little bit, but not completely. And so the one eye was really bulged out. I'm assuming it was just a really bad infection, whether the cat got thrown or if it just, I don't know. I don't really know for sure, but it was very infected. So the one that they ended up taking was just really infected and kind of swollen. And then his other eye, the eye that he has, it had some scar tissue on it from all of the infection that he had. So he can see out of it, but I don't think it's perfect vision. He's kind of got some scar tissue over it that makes it look a little different. But
so he was abandoned, like had another owner.
I don't know. We don't really know what happened. It was just very odd. The whole situation was very odd. Some people, my husband thinks maybe someone tossed him, or maybe he was like a stray farm cat or something that just was sick and maybe the mom kind of abandoned even, but who knows?
How long have you guys had Stormy now?
So we found him in August of 2024. Okay. So he's a year and a half now.
A year and a half. That's awesome. Well, anything else you would like to share with our listeners about your story or Stormy's story? Or anything?
I think just the main thing is that, we all are struggling with things, and sometimes the things are visual that, everyone can see. Some of the things people can't see, and we're all struggling with something, and that doesn't have to define who you are. And even though you maybe have a path that you have in mind for yourself, that it's okay if it looks a little different. Like I said, I never ever thought that I would be writing a children's book, and I'm just so glad that I kind of took that chance and
be open to those possibilities when life takes those turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Stormy's brave beginning reminds us that bravery doesn't always look loud or heroic. Sometimes it's quiet, tender, and held together by love. Thank you, Ronni, for sharing Stormy's story and for reminding us that even after the stormiest days, life can still be beautiful. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to support the mission behind In the Blink. Donations help cover the cost of prosthetic eyes, fittings, and follow-up care for individuals who otherwise wouldn't have access. Because dignity and identity should never be a luxury. Visit www.intheblinkltd.com to donate and learn more.